field, blast off, watch them all fall. This is AFC North talk. Got me hype, it's about to be a touchdown. Got the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns. Are you listening? It's time to get it hype. Tune in when the season poppin'. Yeah, we going live. Hey, knock 'em out. Ay, first down, going hard. Yes, indeed. AFC North talk. Let's go. Hey, AFC North talk.
Welcome to another edition of AFC North Talk. The rankings continue this week. What is it you call it? The fat people? What do you call it?
Oh, yes. The fat guy rankings. Let's get it. We're getting into the fat guy portion.
Yes, sir.
Of the rankings. Let's go. Excess body fat. Let's get it.
Jerry couldn't make it, but he sent his rankings. So I'll read it at the end of all of us ranking. So, since you weren't here last week, we did present it, and we were able to put all the rankings out for you. Who do you have fourth for this interior defensive lineman ranking?
Same person that I had for the for the edge ranking. I mean, it's no secret the Bengals defense is not good this season, so they'll likely be fourth in most of these rankings. But even before this show or anything, and before the draft, right? The number one need I felt that the Bengals needed was interior defensive line, and specifically at 3-tech, pass rushing kind of defensive tackle, right? They did pick up a nose tackle in free agency. He's kind of a guy that flies under the radar, Slayton. I think he'll be good, but his role is going to be limited to being a nose tackle, right? Taking on double teams, primarily stopping the run, playing on early downs. He's not going to be there on pass rushing downs. And when you look at what this team has outside of that, it's really just BJ Hill, who's in his 30s now, right? He's probably your best D tackle. Yep. And then you have Chris Jenkins, who was a rookie last year. He showed some flashes, but early on, the theme of this defensive tackle room was there was a lot of injuries. So Chris Jenkins missed a lot of time, finally came in, had to play with the club, did pretty decent. I think had about 3 sacks in the games that he did end up playing in. But Chris Jenkins is a potential guy as well. He was really a good run stopper. They think that he has potential to pass rush, but he hasn't really proven it. And so there's a lot of projecting there when it comes to him. You look outside of him, you got another rookie in McKinley Jackson, who was a nose tackle as well last year. And they signed Slayton. So that tells me what they think of McKinley Jackson. If they went out in free agency this season and signed a nose tackle, that means to me that the Bengals feel like McKinley Jackson may also be a work in progress and isn't ready to really step in. And this is a room that's taken a lot of hits just because DJ Reader's no longer there. And that's one of the reasons why depth is so important, especially last season with this team. They were decimated to start the season at that position. They had Zach Carter in at points, ended up cutting him along the way. But this team, before when they had DJ Reader, when he was off the field, they were the worst run defense in football. They lost him last year. They finished about 20th, I believe, when it comes to run defense, but they could not rush the passer whatsoever. To me, BJ Hill is your only guy that can really rush the passer. And I just don't see it with this team right now. And I really feel like they should have added a pass rushing defensive tackle for depth from that perspective. So to me, even with BJ Hill, this team is probably in the 30s when it comes to interior defenders. Without BJ Hill, it's 32nd, but they're probably 30th with BJ Hill. So for me, it's got to be the Bengals here at this juncture. Like, unless Chris Jenkins becomes someone, I just can't see it, bro. Just can't see it. So I got them fourth.
Yeah, it's very interesting for me. I also have them fourth, but the other 3 teams are very close, in my opinion, on the interior D-Linemen.
Damn, y'all took Chris Jenkins 49th?
Yes. Remember we were talking anyway, I think the Bengals interior defensive line is here. There's the Grand Canyon, and then the other 3 teams. Look, the one thing I will say, when BJ Hill came back last year, because he was injured at the beginning of the year, his presence was felt right away. Like, I remember when we played y'all and BJ Hill was there, I was like, damn, this BJ Hill's eating Fajalele up, which, whatever, Fajalele. But still, he was eating Fajalele up, right?
Why you doing your favorite guard like that, man?
But in the other games that I watched for the Bengals, BJ Hill will flash. Now, as you said, Ace is 30. He's in his 30s, right? D tackles play in the 30s, so this is not like, oh my god, he's old, he can play. But
DJ Reader playing into his 30s.
but the one thing is, in the interior D lineman, right? You need a rotation. These guys, you see, if you're watching a football game, if not on TV, if you ever go to the stadium, you see, as soon as the tackle, the ball's down, you see a bunch of, as Q called them, fat guys coming in and some coming out, rotating guys, right? Because they want to keep them fresh. When your depth is BJ Hill, and then it's like, we'll see. Let's see how it goes. That is rough, right? A team that if your offense is gonna be explosive, like we all think is gonna be, what is the one way they can keep the offense away? Running the ball. So now if they cannot stop the run, if the D tackles allow the guards to get to the second level to the linebackers, well, it's gonna be hard for the other, the time of possession, and then the offense is just gonna be in the bench. So anyway, I don't think the Bengals did anything. Now, obviously, they could potentially people get cut, but as of right now, yeah, the Bengals didn't address it as I thought they would. Right, they went in linebacker in the second round. I would have thought they was gonna go with the tackle there. Anyway, that's what I have fourth. Q, who do you have fourth?
Yeah, I'm surprised the Bengals weren't more aggressive in this defensive tackle draft class that was just so steep with so many guys here. Well, was Harold Cross a UDFA?
Yeah, he was a UDFA. I believe he played for Notre Dame.
Yeah, I know of him. He kind of fell in the draft. That was like a notable draft name there. Like, I'm just surprised that they weren't more aggressive. There were so many 3-techs I thought fit what the Bengals wanted to do. I thought Jordan Phillips or who would CJ West would have made a lot of sense with what the Bengals want to do.
Indiana.
Yeah. So, I'm surprised they didn't really go at that position, because when you look at it, it would be one thing if I felt better about the overall edge room also with Cincinnati. Like, we don't know what the Trey Henderson situation is going to turn into. And, Shamar Stewart in year one, it's hard to rely on a rookie. And then you also don't have a ton of like tackle help. And then they went so heavy with like linebackers, but you have no defensive tackles. So like, they're just going to get guards on them at the second level. And then you're going to think the linebackers are ass because you're not giving them any help. I don't have great thoughts about, like, BJ Hill's a good player.
Yes.
But man, he's kind of left on the island here, right? Like, I don't love this room. I would have to absolutely put this room at 4. I'm trying to, maybe Chris Jenkins, he is a former second round pick. It is defensive tackle. Sometimes it takes a couple of years for these guys to like show themselves. Maybe if he can push into the rotation, be an effective part of that rotation. I think McKinley Jackson's just way too small to do what the Bengals want him to do, because they want him to be like kind of a nose, right? And I remember seeing him at the Senior Bowl and thinking he's not big enough to be nose in the NFL. But maybe he's gotten wider or longer since I've seen him at the Senior Bowl. But yeah, you're really like leaning on maybe a Chris Jenkins jump in order to get like a solid 3-man rotation there at D tackle. And then you're probably playing a possible there, right? Like, it wouldn't shock me if Harold Cross made the rotation on this team as a UDFA. And once we're at that point, it's just not a great place to be at.
Yeah, and then Jerry has them 4th as well. So it's unanimous 4th all across the board here. Okay.
By the way, though, just so Bengal fans feel better, they are kind of like the Pacers of the NFL, where we'll just look at a position group and be like, that group sucks. And then like 3 weeks in the playoffs, they just play out their mind. And we're like, what the fuck is going on? This is some bullshit.
I'm rooting for the Pacers, by the way. Go Pacers.
Hey, man, I don't care who wins this finals anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch it. I will say, as the playoff had gone, my interest has the lower in the NBA, but the Knicks and Pacers game, that first half was great. But we knew it was going to happen. They had Cat. What are you talking about?
I could not stand to watch any of it because of how this thing shaped out.
I got you.
It should be me, fam.
Yeah, I got you. No, I got you.
You know what that feel like, Sonny.
Yeah, no, I got you. I when the Ravens lost this year, I didn't want to watch no Bills playing, nobody.
You was not locked into no Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl. You weren't caring about those storylines. You were like, what?
My wife was watching the game. I'm like, let me just cook. I'll go cook.
Only thing kept Ace locked in that year they lost to Pat Mahomes is pure hate.
Okay, so Ace 3. I'm very interested to see who you put at 3 here.
Yeah, at 3. I think this room is head and shoulders above the Bengals. I think they've got a pretty good mix of young talent when it comes to the draft picks, as well as some veterans there. And I think I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns here. Like, I think they have enough depth and youth and talent to sustain any kind of injury or any kind of loss for a few games. I think the fact that they have Shelby Harris, I think the fact that they have the guys that they have in the locker room, they just went and picked up a really big guy in Mason Graham. You know, I take rookies into account, so I'm not saying that he's just going to be a monster year one, but it's not like this is Chris Jenkins, right? Like, this is a different situation, top 10 pick. And that's not to shit on Chris Jenkins or anything, but you kind of feel good about a first-round pick. They're a first-round pick for a reason. You're a top 10 pick for a reason. So I think he's going to be able to do some stuff there. But, yeah, I've got them there just because there's just a more notable name in the other 2 rooms, right? Like, they have one of these guys that made the top 100 before. But I still think that Cleveland's defensive tackle room is very solid. I think that they have a bright future. So I think that there's someone that could potentially emerge in a few years as one of the top interior teams in this division. So as it stands right now, I'm putting them at 3, but I'm very interested to see how they do this upcoming season.
I will. Yeah, that's where I had 3rd too. But I will say this: what Cleveland has been doing, what Cleveland has done. It's what I would. Yeah, well, and what I was gonna say is what I was expecting more of the Bengals to do, right? That track, because Q it wasn't that far when Q was like, we don't have nobody at the tackle.
Oh my God!
Like he was like begging them to draft a D tackle, right?
2021, I was so fed up. It was the worst defensive tackle tape I ever seen in the combined year, and some of the worst I've ever seen in the game. We got watched by the not the Bengals, by the Bills in the run game. And for those of you who think that's not embarrassing because the Bills can run the ball now, no, these were the Ken Dorsey Bills that out-physical us. It was. I had to play the Nutcracker music to the film because it looked like ballet. Every time they hut the ball, we just be turning and shit out the way. Oh, welcome to Walmart. That's where I originated. Welcome to Walmart defense, right? Where it's like, right. Welcome to Walmart.
But look, Malik Collins, they brought him up, right? They have Mason Graham, and my rookie scale is basically I treat him almost like a C player, but I love Mason Graham coming out of college, right? Shelby Harris, Mike Hall, a guy that flashed last year, and you're not. Yeah. The thing with Mike Hall and him flashing, you're not asking Mike Hall, this is your year to go eat. All the weight is on you, right? No, they have other guys. But Shelby Harris, and then I think, to be fair to the Browns, I can see them. I said, for me, it was basically Bengals and then Grand Canyon, and the other 3 were very close. I can see them being first of the other 3 at the end of the year, depending how Mason Graham adjusts to the league, right? How Mike Hall takes that step, right? Mm-hmm. The other good thing is they have 2 good veterans to teach them, right? Because Mike Hall's still very young. They had the veterans to teach them to see. Plus, obviously, they had the caveat. They had Myles Garrett next to them also to help them out. Obviously, that doesn't hurt. But
might be helpful.
Yeah, it might be helpful a little bit. But I do love them. I'm not gonna front here. I do like what they're doing, which I always say the worst pressure. People talk about pass rush from like a Myles Garrett or whatever. I always feel like if you get a D tackle, a la the guy that retired from the Rams, I'm blanking his name right now.
Oh, Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald. If you get a guy like that, that's so much more devastating, right? Because pressure coming through your face right away just breaks your play. Anyway, I love them a lot, that room, but I have them just a slight notch below the number 2. Q.
I have, and this might be the first surprise of the ranking. I have, this is tough. I have Baltimore here at 3. This is
It
close.
is tough. Yeah, it is tough.
Close. But I have Baltimore here at 3. They did bring in John Jenkins, who is that the Ohio State John Jenkins from way back in the day? He used to play for Oakland.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Oof. Okay. Well,
he's by the way,
he's got to be the Broderick, right? He's got to be the.
He's the backup.
That is the Baltimore staple, Quincy. Is that the dude that used the back end? Yes. If not,
I was in high school at Ohio State. Big John Jenkins.
So he's gonna be there to back up Johnson because Johnson's the starting nose tackle.
Johnson.
30 is
Johnson
young
Jones.
for a
Sorry,
Raven.
Travis Jones, not Johnson. Travis
30
Jones.
is young for a Raven. That is why I say that. 30 is young for a Raven.
Hey, as long as they play, I'll take him.
Yeah, my man, 35 years old, John Jenkins. He cut the dreads off and everything. That's crazy. But Broderick Washington, it's a solid defensive line. I give other teams the edge because I think they're a little bit deeper than Baltimore is right now. This also is a question how good do you feel about Nnamdi? It was Nnamdi Madubuike. Yeah, how good do you feel about him after a little bit of a down year after that contract? Is his play coming back down to earth? Is this always kind of what he is, or is this what happens when teams pay more attention to him? Ultimately, this is still going to be a defensive interior. It's going to be really hard to run against. Travis Jones, he's not everything I wished he would be coming out of Connecticut. I thought he would be able to trim down a little bit and become more of a 3-tech as well. But in Baltimore system, you can kind of play the nose and get a ton of snaps anyways because it's that 3-4. I think he's been fine there. Broderick Washington, always a solid player there. To me, I just lean towards the depth of the other two teams left in the division. But this is as good as a starting interior as you can get in the league. And this ain't no joke to run on, right?
Yeah. 3 for Jared was Cleveland.
Yes.
So that's Q was the only one that had the Ravens. The other ones had Cleveland. So number 2. Ace, who you have number 2? You get to do 2 and 1, by the way. It's fine.
Yeah, number 2 is going to be the Ravens for me. And as you guys pointed out, Justin Madubuike, this is me thinking that he's in for a bounce back season, right? He did have a down season. Now, I hope he is a contract year merchant because obviously that bodes well for the rest of the AFC North. But I'm thinking that he's going to bounce back in a big way this season. Travis Jones, will he be that guy that he needs to realize? A lot of people loved him in the draft, as Quincy kind of pointed out, but he hasn't yet lived up to that potential. Is this going to be the year? This is him going into year 3, I believe it is. Is this year 3, Sonny, or is this year 4?
I think he's going to year 4.
All right, so this is where you're either going to be a Raven or you're going to be on another team next year. Yep. So Travis Jones is low key kind of in a contract year. Because if you got to sign a guy that's 35, I know it's a Ravens thing. I know that they sign veterans, but if they're bringing in a veteran as competition, that's a sign to Travis Jones that, hey, it's put up or shut up time. Now, one of the guys I did like that they got in the draft, Aeneas Peebles, I'd like to see. I don't know if he's going to be able to work into that rotation or not. I really liked him coming out. He really was someone I thought the Bengals should have gotten because from a pass rushing standpoint, he put up some really good numbers in college. I was surprised he lasted to the 6th round, but they were able to add him to that rotation. And then you got Broderick Washington, who's just kind of solid, right? He really kind of reminds me of Bowser, not a guy that's going to, scare anybody, but he is going to be able to be very solid. You're not going to really be able to take too much advantage of him if he is in that kind of staple from that standpoint. But this is really just me saying, I'm assuming, I guess his name isn't Justin anymore. It's Nnamdi. Yeah, it's Nnamdi now. Nnamdi Madubuike. I'm assuming that he's going to have a bounce back year because I know a lot of people are talking. I know he's had this. I don't know if Ravens fans have turned on him on Twitter or not, but I know when fans aren't getting that return on value, they're going to start to get vocal. And if he doesn't respond next season, you're going to hit a lot of Ravens fans kind of talking bad about him from that perspective. So I'm assuming that he knows that, and he's going to try to come back and come back for a double-digit year this season. We'll see if that happens, but that's who I have at number 2.
By the way, Travis Jones is the last guy left from that draft class where we all took defensive tackles. We were all debating about it here. So Perion Winfrey, Zach Carter, Travis Jones, and I think
Carter got cut.
Hilarious.
Oh yeah, we cut him last year.
Yeah. I think it's going to be hilarious when the Bengals pick off fresh off of the Birmingham squad, Perion Winfrey, right? Because hey, look what they need right now: pass rushers at the 3-team position.
Is he playing good?
He's on first team UFL.
Okay.
So
I mean, coming out of college, we all thought he was pretty.
He's
good.
still young too. Like that's the thing. He was like 20 when he was drafted. He's 24 right now. I mean, he's the same age as some of these guys who just got drafted.
Got drafted. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so somebody gonna take a chance on him if he can keep his off the field clean.
Yeah, that's the main thing with him. I have the Ravens too, similar to you, Ace. Nandi Marabike needs to, like you said, it's his time. Last year it was the contract year. Got kind of happy, as people say, but I'm expecting, and the Ravens also give him more responsibilities. This is his year to be more of a leader of the interior D-Linemen room. Similar with Travis Jones. Travis Jones flashed, but they also had Michael Pierce there last year as the main starter. Travis was the backup. Now this is a year. You're the starter. Jenkins will be there for rotational purposes. Unless if Jenkins becomes the starter, then Travis is gone. There's just no doubt. But contract year players.
No shot John Jenkins becomes the starter, but it is the Ravens we're talking about.
Ravens.
I think he's gonna be part of the rotation.
Because you said that, I was like, no, I wouldn't even consider that. And I was like, hey man, it is Baltimore. They will do some shit like that. Like they did start.
We have a knowing
Brown one time and start him.
Who?
They brought back Le'Veon Bell. They brought back Devonta Freeman. They brought back.
They started.
They brought back Dalvin Cook.
They did.
They brought back goddamn Dalvin Cook and played him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Who was it? Tony Jefferson? Y'all brought back?
Yes. Well, he played great last year for the.
Just go look up who was on Madden 17, and he's probably has a good chance of being on the Ravens roster.
Still in the league?
Yeah, sorry, Chargers. Yeah, he played
Tony Jefferson. Yeah, they went and got him. Yeah, they got that dude from Chicago last year.
The only place that outdoes Baltimore when it comes to getting old people is LA. Pick a team.
Yeah,
they
Chargers.
Yeah, old dudes out
that's
there.
who had Jefferson. Anyway, I think that that's there.
Eric Weddle like 2 years ago.
The championship year. That's when they started. Yeah.
He was a Raven too, wasn't he?
Yeah. He retired. He retired here. He retires
there. Y'all take everything.
The Ramsey, is he about to be a Raven for real? Like, hold on, wait a minute. Let's see something real quick.
He retired and he came out of retired to play for the Rams and win the championship.
Dion played for the Ravens when he was like 39.
Yes, he did. He did.
Hey, we joking. Jalen
he's too young. He's too young.
He need another contract before he can play for the Ravens. He need to be 32. He need to play one more place.
Ransom might be here.
Ransom might be here. Odell's not going to be the center point of this offense, right? And they were like, we throwing Odell the ball.
They've been doing that for decades. Derek Mason was one back in the day.
Derek Mason was great for us.
Steve Smith, they just it's something about Baltimore.
I'm gonna just start calling Baltimore the U.S. Congress because y'all love some old motherfuckers on that squad.
Hey, as long as they can play, that's all I care about. But anyway, what I was gonna say is, Maravike, we have Peebles. I agree with you, Ace. I like Peebles coming out of college. For me, for Peebles will be get there part of the rotation, pass rush here and there. We'll see, grow. Right, I'm not expecting much on him. Jenkins, like I said, the backup of Travis Jones. I am expecting more from Travis Jones. And then Washington is solid. He won't do anything. You probably don't even see him in the game for most of the part. But he's just there holding his guy, essentially, is what Washington does. Doesn't let his guy go past him. That is his main thing. So they also do put, and I said this when we were talking about the edge, Tavius Robinson, they do kick him in that 3-4 the end spot. and I do think he is a really good 3-4D, and I like him a lot. So for those reasons, I have him at number 2. Q.
Yes, my number 3. Well,
Two.
I said 2 team is Cleveland. Now, how you feel about Cleveland is going to be determined based on how you feel about Mason Graham and Mike Hall, right? If you think Mason Graham and Mike Hall are going to be really good players and you project them out to fill out their potential, get closer to that this year, then you're going to have Cleveland ranked really high because that means that they got those 2+ players there. But they haven't proven that yet. I think Mason Graham, I talked about him pre-draft. I love his game. It's so smooth and fluid. He's a really quick player. He never gets stuck on an offensive tackle, which I think is the most important skill set of a defensive tackle. And a lot of defensive tackles will give you 3 plays, and then it's crickets watching the rest of their tape, right? Defensive tackle tape is not for those who do not love this shit, right? Because it is a lot of just watching the guy go, I ain't got it. All right, cool. And just feel their responsibility. But with Mason, I thought he was more consistently being able to be active with his hands, go where he wants to go, and get to the football when he wants to get to the football. He still has to get more powerful, which is why I'm careful about projecting him to do a lot in year 1. I think his floor as a pro is somewhere around where DJ Reader was, right? I think they're similar body types, right? Similar size guys, similar skill set too, where DJ liked to win with his hands a lot because of his quickness. And then he developed the strength later in his career, which I think Mason will, because he had a pretty solid bull rush at Michigan. Mike Hall, I'm very high on Mike Hall. The pass rush ability is there. Good bend, good first step. I think he's a nice complement to this defensive line. And then you got established vets, Malik Collins, Shelby Harris. Shelby Harris has been really good for the Browns the last couple of years, so I'm excited they brought him back. And then, I thought Jawan Briggs, in a very limited role, right? Because the Browns don't play 5 defensive linemen for obvious reasons that much, because why would you do that when you got Myles Garrett? But if the Browns need a nose, he was sufficient at that nose responsibility. You need somebody to wall up, take a double team, even though it's never going to happen because the double team's always going to 95, right? You're not about to just send a double team towards a gap against the Browns. You're going to send a double team towards Myles. But if you're anticipating that quarterback sneak something, I think Jawan Briggs is solid there. I just like 5 of these guys on the Browns defensive line to be able to produce. And that's what? That's pretty much the whole room once cut downs happen, right? Because you're probably going to keep 4 or 5 of these people. So, it might be the case where the Browns have to cut somebody I like a lot, or think can be a solid role player in the NFL, still for a team. So I like the whole room. And when I go top to bottom, that's the one room I feel really strongly about. Again, it's the team I cover, so I have more familiarity with it, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Who's to say if I covered the Steelers, it wouldn't be the same thing? There's some validity to that. But I look at this room, I think it's the most solid top to bottom in a room where you're going to rotate these guys a ton, and the Browns do rotate these guys a ton. I do value that depth because I think all these guys are going to get plenty of snaps.
And then Jared has 2 and 1 for the Ravens Steelers. Yeah, you can have 1, Q, if you want. You can say about your number 1.
I think we're all at Pittsburgh at 1, right?
Yeah, everybody has him.
Yeah, well deserved for Pittsburgh for sure. I mean, they drafted Derek Harmon. A lot of people feel really highly about him.
I like him.
Keanu Benton. I was a big fan of Keanu Benton coming out. And Cameron Hayward, again, he's terrorized me his whole career. My entire adult life, Cam Hayward has been there ruining since even before I was an adult. He came into the league in 2011.
He's been there forever, and he's still good, still consistent.
Damn,
I know.
Damn.
That's crazy.
I was wearing snapbacks and listening to Tyga and in high school. Okay, in 2011. Wiz Khalifa just came out with Black and Yellow. That's when Cam Hayward got there.
36.
Yeah.
Surprised he's not a Raven.
Look,
Steelers hasn't let him go.
I know. Right? Steelers
the Ravens waiting. The Ravens waiting in the cut.
Come
Well,
on,
you
man.
know the Ravens couldn't wait for Calais Campbell to get cut. They was rooting for. They were like,
last year we tried to. You need this. The last year the Ravens on the trade deadline tried to trade for Calais Campbell, and he wanted to come, but supposedly the rumor was that the coach Daniels said, "Nah, we're trying to push for a playoff here." So and he didn't.
Good on him. Good on him. Derek Harmon, Keanu Benton, Cam Hayward. I think that's a really solid starting lineup, right? In your interior. All three of those players I like a lot. Loudermilk's fine. DeMarvin Leal's fine. Daniel Aquale, I thought was a sneaky good signing for them. He was a productive player in New England is where he came from, right? He was on the Browns for a little bit of time as well. So he's another AFC North veteran. But yeah, I thought that was an under the radar signing too. So you're talking about a lot of depth, and the top level for this Steelers team is just so strong and potentially even stronger with adding a guy like Derek Harmon in there. And then the size and length of Keanu Benton as well. It's just like, it's atrocious what they got going out there in the interior in Pittsburgh. They will not be easy to run on. They have some depth there. Yaya Black's there to take up some space, start some fights in camp, and do what it is that he is there to do. But yeah, really solid from a philosophy standpoint, built defensive line. You can really see what they're trying to do, and depth, and in the top end. If we're assuming that Cam Hayward's going to be similar to what he's always been, and Derek Harmon's going to be, a really solid addition in year one, then that defensive interior is going to be really solid.
Ace.
Yeah, I mean, echoing what Q kind of said, man, that top three that they have is deadly. You're talking about Derek Harmon. That was one of the shocks of the draft. I didn't assume that the Steelers would be in on Derek Harmon. I knew that, if the Bengals didn't take him, he would kind of go in the 20s. Didn't expect them to take him.
The Steelers didn't go for Jackson Dart there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So Derek Harmon, Cam Hayward, the vet, that I think it's like the 3-year anniversary of me saying that he was about to fall off of a cliff. That never happened. I don't think it's going to happen this season. Cam Hayward is still – I think he's got a weird relationship with the Steelers right now. It's almost kind of like he's like, I need to get paid. Like, I'm still playing at a top level. I need to get paid. And they're kind of not paying him. So I'm kind of wondering how that situation is going to work itself out. But I think that's just going to continue to keep him playing at a top level. Keanu Benton, that was another guy, like Q said, I was a big fan of his. Coming out of Wisconsin, thought that he would be. They got two guys that people thought would be Bengals on this team: Keanu Benton and Derek Harmon, and we still just got Chris Jenkins. So
ain't that the worst?
I guess that's what
I'm like, oh man, I thought we was gonna draft the tackle last year. Yeah. Roger Rosengarten goes to the damn Ravens.
I loved it.
Watch that workout for him.
They got, hold on, they can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
By the way, we ready for
11.
Did TJ Watt fall off before Cam Hayward?
That would be crazy. But last year it looked like it though.
It didn't look like it. You would it fall off before Calais Campbell retired? That fell off before Calais Campbell retired. So I was saying, what was his name? The edge rusher. He used to be out there in Jacksonville. He signed with the Ravens for like a year. I think y'all traded for him in the middle of the season. It was like a big deal.
Oh yeah, Nick Ngakwe.
Everybody thought that his career was going to last longer than Calais. Calais, they fall off before Yannick did. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, so they have to me the best room as it stands right now. Until Cam Hayward is gone, which I don't know if we don't know when that's gonna happen. But yeah, it's the Steelers, bro. When I saw this list, I'm like, yeah, Steelers number one.
Yeah, the thing is, the Steelers with Derek Harmon, I think if Derek Harmon is what I think he can be, it's gonna be nasty. We also ranked the edge as their number one in the North. Now you have the interior as the number one. It's gonna be nasty. Where's
the QB at though? Where's the QB?
That's the falling grace.
That's the great equalizer. Because if they have to go out there 70 times a game, it don't matter how good they are. I learned that lesson violently last year. The Browns defense was smacking dudes 70% of the time, and we went out there like 80 snaps. It was over with.
Yeah, and that's the equalizer. Yes, I agree. But these guys are good. We're talking about, like I said, I like Keanu. What I seen for him last year was really good. I love Harmon out of the draft. I thought that should have been our pick. That's what I wanted them to pick. Remember in the mocks, I kept saying like Harmon is one of the guys that I would love. Obviously, he went before us. And then Cameron Hayward. There's nothing you can really say about Cam. He's 36, but so
the only thing I'll say about Harmon, because we kind of got the Krispy Kreme glaze sign on for him. The weakness that he does have that I really want to see how he's going to handle that in the North, missed tackles. He misses a lot of tackles at a very high clip in a division where you got to see Derrick Henry and some of these guys, Lamar and stuff like that. That's going to be interesting, and I think you'll see the Browns start to run the ball a little bit more as well. That's the only part where I want to see, is he good? But he's probably, with that rotation, he's probably only going to play on passing downs. But that's something that I'll monitor with him is, what is that missed tackles thing going to translate? How is that going to translate in the NFL?
Yeah, and then it's like, well, since he's in that 3-4, it's going to be more backers on the field for him, so there's more help for him.
I was going to say.
But, yeah, it is something to look out for. But I would just say this. If your 3-tech is trying to tackle Lamar and he not in the pocket, fall to the ground, son. You're about to be on Sports Center.
Top 10.
Do you ever want to see PJ Hill on the island trying to mirror Lamar's hips?
Even Hubbard. Look what happened to Hubbard last year.
Yeah, Lamar gonna do that bullshit where he start jogging and extend the ball and then start running real fast.
Yeah, start running fast, get to the,
and then put the ball up in the air, do all kind of irresponsible shit, and then he still just be able to get away with it. Nah, man, that's where Lamar pisses you off. You never want a 3-tech chasing him. Or 3-tech chasing Derrick Henry, not necessarily good, because that means
everybody else is behind.
Chasing, right?
What I was gonna say is, the one thing is, because I do agree with you, that was a concern of mine, but in a 3-4, but you have the outside backers there to clean up, right? So he might miss the tackle. The question is how he misses the tackle. Does he miss the tackle like a clean miss? Like the guy just jukes him and goes?
Effective tackle
exactly.
From what I heard from a Bengals fan that was also an Oregon fan that really wanted us to draft him, was that you'll get some of those frustrating, that should have been a sack. Like he'll get his hands on the guy and he won't bring him down. Yeah. The spin around joints do stink. That's the worst one.
But I think in Pittsburgh they have enough guys that can clean. That's my point. If it's that type of missed tackle in Pittsburgh, that will work, right? The ones that you cannot have in Pittsburgh is like he gets juked and gone. But if he's just holding it for a moment, they have enough guys that can come and clean.
Yeah, for example, like a guy like Roquan Smith has made his career off of defensive tackles who can't tackle.
Roquan lives rent-free in your head, Q. Oh my God. Anyway.
I just live for Roquan slander. Yes, he does.
Yes. Anyway, so there was a unanimous fourth and a unanimous first. I think last week. Look at this. Last week was also unanimous fourth and unanimous first. Same teams, by the way. Pittsburgh. Same teams.
Hey, look, that will happen in the opposite direction on offense.
Yes, I can see
there will be a unanimous one at wide receiver.
Oh, yes.
And unfortunately, I know who the unanimous four is going to be at wide receiver. Well, shit, honestly, is it going to be Cleveland?
I don't think it's the Ravens. But we'll see when it gets that.
Jerry Jeudy had 1,200 yards. Like, you can't say Zay Flower had what, 999?
Something.
Zay Flower's out there putting up WWE Network numbers and shit. Like,
hold on, let me see. Did he break 1,000 last year?
No, don't tell me he hasn't, man.
If he broke 1,000, it was one of them shiesty, like 1,007 yards. Like, you barely got
He got 1,059.
Okay. Okay.
1,000.
Is that playoff? Is that including playoff?
No, remember he didn't play in the playoffs. He didn't play the whole season. He got injured.
I don't know, Sonny. It's looking. I don't know, bro.
We'll see. This is why you have to keep
Everybody
him.
but the Bengals got that. Hey, man, you take this one wide receiver out. It looks disgusting.
That is fair. Yeah, no, the Bengals have the deepest. But anyway, we'll talk about that when we get there. That was the ranking for the interior. Next week, I don't know. We should go leaner. We can go cornerbacks.
So corners.
Yeah, let's go corners.
Oh boy, this might be another Bengals 4 situation, is it?
I don't know. That's why they have to
Well,
Did it?
yeah.
Who the Steelers got at corner?
do
JPJ?
JPJ. Sorry, JPJ.
And who else?
That's
That's
it.
it. That's it. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Let me see. I can tell you here.
Beanie Bishop. I do not know who that is.
Beanie?
Darius Slay. Oh man.
They had Darius Slay. Yeah.
Hey, look,
He's not a Raven.
Raven thing on with
They
them
tried.
old DBs. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. They tried to get Slate last year too.
What the Ravens did?
Yeah.
managed to always have somebody starting in their secondary that's going to get their jersey retired very soon for another team. Right? Like it was like Joe Hayden for the longest.
It's like the Ravens analytics guy writes his queries and he's just like age greater than or equal to 33 years old when he's recruiting people.
He's like the opposite of Andrew Berry, because like Andrew will draft these young, super young guys, and then like here come the Ravens, like, nah, 25 is good.
Yeah.
That means he's gonna get to his prime faster.
Hey, as long as they play good, that's all I can care
They don't
about.
buy no green bananas in Baltimore. That's the truth right there.
They're right for the better, sweeter. Anyway, with that, we'll conclude today's interior defensive lineman ranking. Make sure you sub. Let us know what you think down below. Thank you for watching. Again, next week we'll come with corners. Until next time. Peace out.